Hello, hello, hello. Hello, my sunshines, my sunbeams. How was your week? I hope it was wonderful. Okay, so what I wanted to start off by thanking everyone who is here today, watching, listening, however you are taking in the information, especially my new people who are here. If you're new, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. That way, when I do post new videos, you're able to get the information first. I want to thank everybody who's returning, and I also want to definitely make sure I thank everybody who has donated at Fly, at Cash App, Fly Double Y Queen B. For those who have subscribed, for those of you who have liked, who have shared, who have supported from day one until now, even if you are new, the fact that you're here, I appreciate it, because you could be anywhere in the world, but you choose to be with me, baby. So I'm just thankful. I'm always incredibly thankful. And yeah, thank you for the love and for sharing that love with me. I appreciate it. All right, let's get off into our singing bowl. Get off into our singing bowl, get our nerves calm and collected, get our lives together. All right. I hope that helps you. It definitely always helps me. All right. So I'm going to give a trigger warning. Also write it in the description. Trigger warning is going to be some talk of abuse here today. Not that that's funny, but just to let you know. So I went to a friend of mine, a friend of mine asked me to come with him to Arizona. And for people who don't know me, I'm from Arizona. I'm originally from California. I lived there till I was about 10 or 11. And then my parents moved us to Tucson, Arizona. And then as a grown person, I moved to Kansas City, Missouri. Missouri side, not Kansas. Make sure you get it right. And now here I am in San Antonio, Texas. So anyway, I've been home a couple of times. Like I've been back to Arizona a few times, but I hadn't been back in a couple of years. And it's funny because I feel like every time I go back, I get a little bit more of myself back. I gain a little bit more healing. So the guy I went with, he does contracting, right? And there are these trees there, these beautiful trees that had these bright yellow blossoms on them. And the whole time, like as soon as we touched down, I was like, what are these trees? Like, I have to figure out what this tree is because it's going to bother me. Beautiful, bright green trunk, bright yellow blossoms. And it stuck out to me so much because I'm like, I should know this tree. Why do I not know this tree? There's something about this tree that's like talking to me. I need to figure out what this tree is, right? So I think the first day me and him talked about it, and then we kind of just let it go. The second day, he found out what the tree was while he was working, doing his thing, came back and then forgot all about it, right? So I still didn't find out what it was. Finally, I'm just driving around, and I was like, you know what? Let me just look this up. Let me figure out what this tree is. I bring all this up to say, um, I found out what the name of the tree was. It's called Palo Verde. I knew this already though, and I think that's why it bothered me so much, because I grew up, like I said, I grew up there. I went to middle school and high school there. There is no way you get through middle school and high school in Arizona without knowing what that tree was, because it's the state tree. It's literally all over the place. And I'm sitting here, when I found it out, I was like, why didn't I remember this? Like, I should have known this tree. Like, I should have known this right off the bat. Like, what? Especially if y'all know I love plants. So I'm sitting here like, and it's perplexing me now. Like, I'm baffled. Why the hell couldn't I remember this? I even went to a school named Palo Verde. My high school, the two high schools I went to, three really, don't ask. I might have been a little bit rambunctious when I was a teenager. Anyway. So I went to Palo Verde at one point. I went to a high school named Palo Verde. Why did I not remember this? And it bothered me so much. And it finally occurred to me that I really didn't have too much of a recollection of growing up in Tucson, to be honest. And it occurred to me that the reason why I didn't was because once we moved there, abuse from my father started. And he was very physically abusive, mentally and emotionally. I don't think you can be physically abusive without being emotionally and spiritually, mentally anyway, but like you kind of can't box those off. Like, how are you going to physically abuse somebody but not mentally? It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, yeah, like it was like I turned 11 and immediately abuse started. And I kind of always felt like it was because I started getting older and I started looking more and more like my mother. So he couldn't take it out on her because he knew she would leave, so he would abuse me. But that's really beside the point why people do what they do. Also, he had a very abusive past himself, so he just kind of passed the trauma down as opposed to healing from it, which is what a lot of people do. That's why we're here today, to talk about these things so that we don't keep passing the trauma down. We break the curses, right? So, like I said, I sat there for a second and I realized, like, it's probably because I went through so much abuse here. And it's amazing when you really think about it, because your mind will go through so much to protect you of any and all things that don't really serve you any longer. And those memories don't really serve me. I've healed from it. It is what it is. You can't go back and change it. But what I wanted to talk to you about today was boundaries. Because while I was there, my son's great grandmother ended up calling, and she got really excited when she heard that I was in Arizona, and she goes, "Oh my God, so you're gonna go see your brother and your dad?" And I was like, "Nah, why would I do that?" she was like, "Well, because you know they live out there and you guys can reconnect and blah blah blah." So, like I said, my father started abusing, like physically abusing me when I was around 11. I left my parents' house when I was 15 and really never went back after that. Doesn't mean I didn't have contact with them, but I never lived at home like that. So when I left, I talked to them every once in a while, but it wasn't really a big thing. I think what ended up happening is my dad ended up apologizing to me, like when I was maybe like 17 or 18 years old. So I started talking back to him for a little while, but the apology wasn't sincere. it was one of those, I'm sorry if you felt like I hurt you, not I'm sorry for doing X, Y, and Z. It wasn't a real response, like him taking full accountability or responsibility for the stuff he did. That's not why I stopped talking to him again, though. It was because he never really changed. So, like I said, we started talking around 17 or 18 again. A couple years go by, and I see that he never really changed his behavior or the way that he does things. So I stopped talking to him again. And this cycle continues for the next decade or so, really, because I think I finally like really cut my father off, and I've not had any contact with him since 30. I turned 30. And that year, he completely showed his ass. And it wasn't really just him showing his ass with me, it was the things that he put, the situations that he put my children into. And at that point, it was like, you know, I've gone such and such amount of years with dealing with this off and on, and it's not cool, it's not really good for my mental health, but I damn sure I'm not about to let you fuck with my children. The moment you start doing anything to them that even remotely looks like fuck shit, we got a whole problem. So from there, it was complete cut off. We're not playing these games anymore. So I cut him off, cut my mom off for the same type of reasons. Keep in mind, those are two separate entities themselves. They're not together. They make their own decisions. They both did stupid shit. So I ended up leaving them alone. The thing is, she really like started getting like going ham about what I don't understand why why you want to cut off your sons from their grandparents. I don't understand why it is that you're doing them, you're keeping them from them, and you're keeping yourself when you wouldn't even have life without them. And here are our boundaries. I don't give a goddamn whether I would have life with these people or not. Have you done anything to make the life that you created any type of easier, or did you go out of your way to try and fuck that life up? Which brings me back to boundaries. If you have anybody in your life for any reason, I don't give a damn if it's your mama, your daddy, your grandma, your grandpa, your husband, boyfriend, cousin, best friend. We're gonna quote, because really, if they violate your boundaries, they shouldn't be your best friend anymore. They shouldn't be in your life. Of course, that all depends on the extent to which they're violating those boundaries, but your boundaries are you. That's your protection for yourself. Those are your laws that govern your body and how you feel. And you constantly allowing people to violate those boundaries, break that trust, break those laws when it comes to yourself, that's self-deprecation, that's self-harm to allow people to violate your boundaries. Now, I let her go off for a minute, and I finally said, ma'am, I don't understand how any of this is your business. And she got really upset because she's the old, like I said, this is my son's great grandmother. So she's an older woman, and they kind of feel sometimes like they have the right to say things that they really don't have no place in saying. You don't pay no bills over here, and honey, even if you did, you don't get to tell me how to raise my children. You don't get to tell me who I should and should not be in contact with. You really don't get to tell me anything. Your place in my life is really that of my son's. Like, you don't have a place in my life. You here for him. So mind your business. Boundaries. That may sound mean to some people, but boundaries can be mean sometimes if people feel the need to constantly step over that line. If you have people in your life that are habitual line steppers, of course they're going to say you sound mean. They're going to say that you sound disrespectful, because you're setting the tone for how you choose and want to be treated. And they don't want to do that. They don't want to respect that boundary. They don't want to respect that law, that rule that you set for yourself. Then it becomes up to you to decide whether you're going to continue to allow them habitual line steppers to be a part of your life, or to cut them off. And I'm not, sometimes in my personal opinion, not everybody needs to be cut off for forever. It's not a. Sometimes you just need to set a precedent and let people know, like, I'm not playing with you. You're either going to follow these rules that I have set for my lifestyle and the things that I want bringing in, or you're not going to be a part of my life. And a lot of times people tend to correct their behavior because they do want you a part of your, do want to be a part of your life. But then you do have people like my parents who are going to want to argue you down. You do have people who are like my son's great grandmother who are going to want to argue you down about how you allow people to manipulate you, because really that's what it all boils down to. If I set a rule for myself and I say I don't want to do this or I don't want this in my life, and then somebody else is trying to convince you otherwise, that's manipulation. Period. Not common. So why are you trying to manipulate me? And what makes you think that this is okay? What makes you think that I'm going to sit here and stand for this? Like, it's, you don't have to allow for anything that you don't want in your life. And you don't have to allow anybody to make you feel guilty about it either. Your business is your business. Your being is your business. Your altar is your business. How you allow people to show up and give offering at that altar is up to you. If you allow abuse at that altar, then hey, baby, that's up to you. No judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. But if you choose the latter, you choose for people not to, you don't have to feel guilty for putting your foot down and saying no. Again, that's a period, not a comma. You don't have to explain yourself. No, I don't like that. Period. No, I don't want to do that. Period. No, I don't like them. Period. No, I don't want to talk to them. Period. No, I do not want this person a part of my life. They are undeserving of my energy. Period. All of those are period statements. You do not have to add commas to things that don't need commas. Period. And I hope I hope you're hearing me clearly. No, I really do hope y'all hearing me clearly, because I know I said I got a new mic and yeah, I still had an echo, but hopefully I'm trying something different. If I have to pad the walls for y'all to hear me clearly, I'll do it. But I'm being so very, very serious right now with what I'm telling you, because at the end of the day, a lot of the issues that you have in your life, I can almost guarantee are extending from the fact that you have not set clear boundaries. And if you have allowed people to walk all over them. And if you allow people to break your boundaries that you have set for yourself, notice how all of that begins with you. Nobody else can step over your boundaries and step over the line unless you are allowing them to. Nobody can disrespect you unless you are allowing them to. It all starts with you. You hold yourself accountable. You hold the people around you accountable. And that's just that on that, baby. That's just that on that. So it's time for reading. I really do hope that y'all are hearing me about boundaries. She really did try to make me feel guilty about it. And I'm glad that she did, because this woman she's a sweet woman. I don't want to sit here and talk about her like she's a old calculated bitch or nothing like that. She's not. She's a sweet woman, but at the end of the day, a lot of old school people tend to think that they get away with doing whatever it is that they want to their kids, to their family, to their kinfolk, and then because they the elder, that they get to get away with it. And no, you don't get to treat me any kind of way. You don't get to talk to me any kind of way. You don't get to handle me any kind of way. You don't get to use me or anything else. None of that. You don't get to abuse me. You damn sure don't get to abuse my children. And I guess it was also the fact that that even had to be an argument anyway. If I'm, this is my father, mine. I grew up with this man, and I'm telling you that he is a toxic person and he means my children no good. He is going to plant seeds that I end up having to deroot and dig up that I do not want to have to deal with. And you're telling me that you know better than me. How? Honey, how? How do you know better than me when you don't even know this man? The only way you know him is through who? Me. How that makes sense? You ain't spent no lick of time with this person. You see what I'm saying? Like, stuff don't even be making sense. And people just really be wanting to argue with you about it. Like, bro, what you got going? How does this make sense? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And most of the things that people are trying to step over your boundaries with are going to be things that you find and most of the things that you find that people step over your boundaries with, you're going to find honestly don't make any sense. I apologize. I got a call. Which I don't know how that ended up happening because my phone shows me do not disturb, but you know, whatever, the technology, it happens. All right. So pick our cards. Y'all know how this goes. I'm gonna pick the cards and I'm gonna come back to you. So we have the star, which can barely see because of my light. Because I shine so bright, baby. The Four of Wands is also, both of these were reversed, by the way. The Hierophant, reversed. I'm having a lot of reversals, I noticed. Dad, that was upright. All right, we're gonna need to let go of some shit. That's what that's looking like. Three of Swords. Oh, we're gonna need to let go of some toxic ass relationships. Bro, boundaries. Four of Swords. Yeah, there's definitely a theme I'm seeing coming up right now. And Temperance. All right, let me go ahead and connect with my people and I will give y'all your reading in just a moment. All right. I really think this reading is so funny because it really does fall in line with everything I just talked about. So, okay, first we have the Star card. There we go. Which normally represents like hope and guidance. But because it is reversed, I'm going to say it's telling us to not be too attached to flighty thoughts and just going off of whims, that we should be logical and concrete with the way that we're thinking. Yeah, that we should be logical and concrete with the way that we're thinking. We also got the Four of Wands, which if you see upright, it's two people with flowers in their hands, looking like they're about to go on a picnic with the city in the background. And there are these four wands planted firmly in the ground. But because this is reversed, I believe, and because actually down in all of our cards, except for Death and Temperance, were reversed. So with that Star card telling us to be a little bit more logical, not to be flighty with our thoughts and whims, to be more concrete. I believe that this is telling us that we're going to have a little bit of issue putting down roots, because the roots will be going into the ground, but the wands are upside down, so there's going to be weight on that, right? So there may be a false sense of security that hasn't been earned. We may have issues putting down roots, making creative decisions, utilizing our creativity in general. There may be issues with a person above us or with us that has what's the word? Like a boss that has some type of an authority figure that has a false sense of ego, or maybe even a person that you're in a relationship with that has a false sense of ego that isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, because again, this is reversed. So her feet aren't planted the way that they should be. There's a false sense of ego. She's misleading. The person is misleading. I'm not saying that the person is a woman. Maybe they just have really strong divine feminine energy, or just feminine energy, not even divine feminine energy, because there are a lot of niggas who have bitch tendencies these days. But we're not gonna get into that. That's a whole different episode. And we have Death telling us, with all of this stuff going on, that we need to go deep and do some self-examination and let this shit go. Like, mourn it if you need to. Give the time or respect that you feel like it deserves, but let it go. And know that just because things may not be clear to you as to why you need to let that person or those situations go now, doesn't mean that you won't get that reflection back later and have that understanding later, because that's what comes with death. Death, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of pain at first, but eventually the initial shock of it subsides and you're able to reflect back on the things that that person might have added to your life, or that situation might have added to your life or taken away, and why that person had a presence in, or thing had a presence in your life in the first place. Three of Swords reversed, which has pretty much the same meaning as it does upright, which if you see is three swords in the heart: pain, truth, betrayal, drama. It's a whole lot of drama behind letting this situation go and killing it. So be prepared for a little bit of drama while getting out of it. Four of Swords, confirming pretty much all of this. Confirming pretty much all of this here. As you can see, sis is in the bed. Sis is in the bed with swords above her. All this anxiety, all this strife. And what are you doing on it? What are you dealing with all of that for? Set your boundaries, gain some temperance. Be able to be of a cool mind and a solid stance with your emotions. Know that it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. It can be either or. Pay attention to the beauty. Let me go back. I had to keep going back because pay attention to the beauty around you and the beautiful things that you do have. Don't focus on the negative things that you feel like you might be losing. Like, oh my God, there really is never a loss. Again, I'm pretty sure that I've gone over this before. When you ask the universe for something, or when the universe is bringing something in, there's only three answers. Yes, yes, but not right now. No, because I have something greater. So just because there's a death right now does not mean that there's not something greater and more beautiful coming into your life. But you cannot have it if you're so busy holding on to the strife and the ugliness You can't have you can't have that if you're too busy holding on to all of this other bullshit that the universe is trying to tell you that you need to let go of so that you can grow and continue to move forward and have the ability to set down roots and plant yourself so that you can gain your prosperity and abundance. Set your boundaries. Set your boundaries. Do your thing. Do you. Don't let nobody do you for you. Do you. I hope you got something out of the reading. I hope you got something out of the reading last week. I look forward to hearing back from you all, getting your insight, letting me know how things have been going for you, let me know how your week has been. I appreciate everyone again for all of your donations, all of your time, all of your responses. Again, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Cash App are all Fly Double Y Queen B. I thank you for liking and subscribing, for following me, for sticking with me, for being on my ass when I was gone. My ancestors was really talking through some of y'all. Y'all don't even know it, but they were using y'all, and I appreciate y'all for allowing them to use y'all and for coming to me and telling me about myself. And I love you. You are my sunshine. Y'all shine on me and I shine right back. But I'm thankful again, and I look forward to hearing back from you, like I said. So y'all have a beautiful week, and as always, love, peace, and